you gotta be safe when you get this money. This internet money. This internet money.
Internet money jumping, got me jumping in. Bull market coming, we about to pump again. A lot of people left the game, had a change of plans. Long money got the short money changing hands. Take your time, maybe you can make some dividends. Buying whole, only method I can recommend. Buy the lows for you know what you be making ends. Where to stop, nobody knows, though it all depends. They say the trend is your friend up until the end. All these exes got me about to do a double spin. Keep the change, ain't no need for the double sin. Blockchain got the block boys bubbling. No bank, no thank you, I'm my own man. You know I like to keep my wallet in my own pants. Life's a gamble, got the right to take my own chance. A little different, yeah, I like to do my own dance. Gotta keep my own keys and my own coins. Top flight security, I keep it on point. Gotta keep the seed and phrase under lock and key. Gotta keep.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the stream. It's been a while since we've gone live, but this is something that both Don and I have said we are going to do more and more these days because we have a lot of exciting updates to bring you. The crypto market is moving fast. My name is KG. I am one of the founders of the Internet Money Wallet, and this is the other founder, Don Montoya. Don, how are you doing today?
Fantastic, KG. It is an amazing day, especially in the PulseChain community.
What makes you say that? What do you like about PulseChain, Don?
Oh, man. Well, forget about PulseChain itself for a minute. Look at the sentiment that's going on. Yeah, it's on a dippy, but the whole market's on a dip, so I'm not worried about that. But Richard Hart beat the SEC. We beat the SEC because we were just as much invested. Well, didn't want to say invested. Vested in the outcome of this case for years. And it feels like a weight has been lifted off of my shoulder. I know you feel the same way. And congratulations to everybody in the community for holding strong, being here, staying true to what we knew was going to happen. And that's why I feel fantastic.
Well said. We will dive into that as well. On this stream, we're going to talk about where we are as the Internet Money project, the Internet Money Wallet product. We're going to tell you guys what we're working on, some directions that we want to go shortly after, and talk about some accomplishments we've had recently, as well as we're going to talk about some market events, like Don just mentioned, with Richard Hart beating the SEC, right? That's an important term in all this. He didn't just get dismissed. He beat them into dismissal. He forced them into submission. We're going to talk about Donald Trump doubling down again on a United States crypto reserve, and he actually extended it beyond what he said previously. And we are also just going to talk about the general market sentiment. You know, things are down, but why is that? Where do we think things are going to go? So this should be a really exciting stream. We have a lot of great things to talk about. Let's start it off by saying shout out to those who are in our YouTube chat. If you're on X, hello to everybody watching on X. Those comments do not show up on the streaming platform I'm using at this time. So if you want your comment to show up on the stream, jump into the YouTube and drop your comment there. But if you're watching on X, hello as well. Goran, good to see you. Mason, Al Samak, thank you for all you do for the community.
Thanks, man.
He is a very active admin in our Internet Money Telegram community. And if you're out there and you haven't joined the Telegram community, that's the best place to get support, to engage with other people, not only revolving around internet money, but crypto in general. And you're going to be met with guys like Al Samak who are in there ready to help you. KG, Emano Ray, what's up? Diversify, Love Rich, Francis, Taryn, 1776. That's all I'm going to say about that. Declaration of Independence, United States of America. Corey and Investor. Oh, bro, we just played your track for the intro song. That track we played in the intro, if you listen to the full length, Corey has an awesome verse in there. Good to see you, man. Looking sharp in the suit. All right. Well, let's go ahead and dive first into a couple things that we've accomplished recently. And if anybody has any questions, comments, concerns, drop it in the chat. Now's a good time to get a hold of us. So, Don, I think the biggest things that we've accomplished in recent history, and maybe you've heard about it. If you have, you're going to hear about it again. If you haven't, here comes some news. So, we have implemented cross-chain swapping on Android, iOS, and Chrome. We've also implemented Fiat on-ramping on Android, iOS, and Chrome. One of the big things about the Fiat on-ramp and the cross-chain swap for our PulseChain community is that you can now swap in and out of PulseChain to 26 different blockchains, and you can now Fiat on-ramp directly into PulseChain and 23 other blockchains as well. So whether you are a PulseChain community member or not, you have now access into all these different ecosystems, and PulseChain is included in that. And for those who are new to PulseChain, may not understand why we're emphasizing on PulseChain, but the PulseChain community has been largely suppressed and under-supported. So when things actually get created that emphasize support for PulseChain, it is something worth talking about. Don, is there anything you want to say on that?
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on the limits a little bit. We do, and forgive me from being from my phone, lost power to my home, crazy windstorm here, and the Wi-Fi is down, so I had to jump on with the phone. So I'll also be slow on the chat for that. And KG, your camera keeps on going in and out. But I don't know if that's because of my stream or if anybody else sees that, but it disappears. You get the spinner, and then you come right back. So,
well, if anybody can confirm that in the chat, please let me know. But I think it might be your internet. Well, shout out to you, Don. You're going through the windstorm apocalypse over there, and you're still finding a way to jump on stream and make it happen. So, round of applause.
Nothing can stop us. A wise man once said, we see only success, and the objective must give way.
Napoleon Bonaparte.
There you go. But then you brought it to life. But back to the limits. We know that there is a lower limit to swap in and out of cross-chain swap in and out of PulseChain, and to onboard directly into PulseChain. It's roughly $300-ish, and that is due to our third-party provider that's providing the liquidity for that. They have some type of weighted purchasing average that they do. PulseChain is pretty volatile. It's a highly risky asset. I mean, not to those of us who believe, but to those around us who don't necessarily know what we know. So the liquidity levels aren't that high. And there are times that when there's a lot of volume, we drain it. We drain the pool. I mean, I know we drained the pool not too long ago, and then it takes a couple hours, they shut it down, and then boom, they got to get more liquidity in. So if you are having any issues with that, that's probably what it is. But like KG said, you can always jump into our Telegram, t.me/internetmoneyio. And as always, any direct message is a scam. Anybody calling you is a scam. I will never direct message you. KG will never direct message you. No admin will direct message you. So it is a scam if they are reaching out to you.
100% well said. And to expand on that a little further, is we do see times where the limits do increase for PulseChain things. We've seen them as high as $2,500 a transaction. And so the limits that Don spoke about, even though they're $300 right now, it's still per transaction. So if you wanted to do multiple transactions, you can. And we've seen the limits as high as $2,500, $3,000. And part of what dictates that is people using the services. So what reason do any of these third parties, not talking about internet money, talking about, for instance, Change Now or Transact or Gardarian or all these different services, what reason do they have to support PulseChain except for they think they're going to make money on the endeavor? Because there is a financial and a manpower investment that has to go into those things. So we've invested financially and the manpower to bring it to life. And as more people use those services within the internet money wallet, Fiat on-ramping into PulseChain, cross-chain swapping in and out of PulseChain, those limits should naturally increase as well because the providers will be more incentivized to have higher limits. So using them not only helps you have a better experience, it helps the things that you believe in grow.
Yep. Well said, man. Absolutely.
And with that, those are really the two big accomplishments that we've had recently. We've done a lot of other little optimizations and bug fixes on the app. So just overall, the app experience is getting better and better. And if you're new, what I mean by the app is the Internet Money Wallet, which is a cryptocurrency wallet that supports Ethereum and all Ethereum-based blockchains. So if you're familiar with using MetaMask, for example, as a product, you can think about Internet Money as a MetaMask alternative. So for those of us who have been with us, for those of you who have been with us since the beginning, you'll see that we've constantly gotten better, and we continue to do that, and we will continue to do that, and we'll get into that a little bit more right now with what we're currently working on. And on that note, we are actively in the background working on some refactors, if you will, that are going to increase the speed of the app. So we've noticed that as people use the wallet for an extended period of time, and the more power user you are, right, more tokens you have, more networks you use, more transactions you do, the app can sometimes start to get a little slower. So we're working on a solution right now that should increase the speed and processing of the app for everybody. So I'm really excited to get that out. We're actually very soon going to be testing those refactors in our beta group. So if you're interested in joining our beta group, shoot us a message on X to the Internet Money X profile, and we can get you added to the beta group. Before we go public with any of our updates, they all hit the beta group first. So if you're someone who is interested, likes testing new technology, you can join. If you're somebody who wants to see Internet Money Wallet win and succeed, you can also join. So we will soon be testing those optimizations to speed in beta. Don, is there anything you want to say on that one?
No, I think that, well, yes. When I say no and I speak, that means yes. Yeah, the testing process is pretty rigorous, even before it gets to the beta group. You know, we obviously don't want to waste people's time with bugs or inaccuracies that we can point out. So that is another arduous task that KG mainly leads. And, you know, it's not just testing it on, hey, I'm just testing it on Chrome. I tested it on Chrome. Got tested on mobile. Got tested on mobile with iOS and Android. Then you got to test it on PulseChain. You got to test it on Ethereum. You got to test some swapping on Base and Arbitrum and Avalanche and BNB, BSC. It's a very arduous process. So if you are out there and you do want to chip in and pitch in and help the team out, because once it gets to us and we give it to you, great. You know, we did everything we could. But there's so many different scenarios. Are you on a VPN in Europe trying to VPN over to the United States and vice versa? I mean, there's so many little scenarios. Do you have Verizon Fios or Comcast Cable or whoever? There's so many Starlink. There's so many different scenarios to run through that we can't test them all. So everybody helping out would be great. Please, you know, maybe you do it once a month. You know, maybe you do it once every 6 weeks, but just having the help would be appreciated.
Agreed. And even if you're somebody who's like, hey, I have 30 minutes to beta test this month, and your one test in your one unique environment, like Don was saying, will either show us things are good in that way, or show us, or you'll find a bug that nobody else is going to find because they're not you in the same environment that you're in. So every single person testing, and even if you're not in the beta group, if you're using the wallet and you're experiencing what you perceive to be an issue or a bug or something like that, report it to us because we don't collect data. So every other wallet you use is collecting your data, which means, well, I don't want to say every other wallet you use. I can't say that as a statement of fact. Most likely, every other wallet you're using is collecting your data.
Yeah.
And so when you're experiencing a bug or a crash or something, the team knows about it at a central level. Now, that's a benefit of collecting your data, but they also know a whole bunch of stuff about you, which is anti-crypto anyways. Different conversation, but Internet Money Wallet does not collect data. So we only know what the users tell us. So while your data is protected from us, we can only grow and help you through your bad experiences is if you tell us. And we want to. We're always here. We're always available. Please do not hesitate. All right. The next big thing we're working on actively in the background, which this is currently in the beta group. Oh, looks like your lights just came back on. Congratulations. And let there be light.
Love it.
So currently in the beta group, we are testing an additional Fiat on-ramp provider. Right now, we use a company called Gardarian. We chose them first because of their PulseChain support. They are the only, to our knowledge, Fiat on-ramp provider that supports PulseChain. There is Coast, that is a PulseChain native product, and we would love to integrate with them, but their integration process is just a little bit different, and there are some nuances and quirks that need to be worked out. So we love what the Coast team is doing. They're providing a great service.
Yeah.
But outside of Coast, Gardarian is the only other provider that does it for PulseChain. So that's why we went with them first. Now, we're integrating Transact. And for those who have spent any time around the crypto space using other wallets, just maybe you've used them in general outside of a wallet, Transact is a major player in the Fiat on-ramp space in crypto. And so we've been approved as a partner for Transact, and we're going to bring it to the wallet shortly. It's being beta tested as we speak. And so that'll be 2 Fiat on-ramp options, which will expand the currencies that are supported, and it will expand the regions that are supported. Only thing is Transact does not support PulseChain at this time. So you can still, on-ramp your Fiat into Ethereum or Base or Binance or something, and then you can cross-chain swap it into PulseChain, and you can do that all right from within the app without having to connect to any dApps. So that's another big thing coming alongside the speed enhancements. Second, Fiat on-ramp, and it is Transact. It's a big one.
Yeah, for sure. And one of the negatives with Gardarian also is they don't support the UK or Australia.
Mhm.
2 huge
Mhm.
markets for us. So our brothers and sisters out there in the UK and Australia, we got a solution coming for you. We see you in Telegram. We see the error messages asking WTF, but we hear you, and we're not too far away from it.
Agreed. Yes. And see, we know how important it is because our Australian friends, our UK friends, they're telling us, I want to get in and I can't. And so because of that influx of feedback, we know that it's a solution that we need to work on. So your feedback does not go unnoticed. This is a wallet by the people for the people. And we don't just say that as a cliche phrase. We actually mean that. And for those who have engaged with us or spent any time in the community, know we truly mean that.
For sure.
What's up? Shout out to Game Sis in the chat.
Yo, what's happening, man?
He's actually doing some awesome work for the internet money ecosystem, which we will talk about here very soon.
Yeah, I can't wait to show that off.
You know what? We will. I'll pull it up right now. Go ahead, fill the space, Don, if you got something to say.
I'm just excited for you to pull it up, man. It's a very big, because we had a stats page at one point. But yeah, I will go into that a little bit. You mentioned about the app getting slower and slower over time. It's especially with my account, I got a ton of different accounts, ton of different tokens in each account, different networks. Obviously, we're testing everything. And as we advance, it's not something we knew it was going to happen until it actually happened. So that's another thing about developing a wallet and continuing to maintain a wallet. is that it is a living, breathing piece of technology that has to be maintained. And it has to be maintained by the people that are, or used by the people that are maintaining it, so that we know when these problems are happening. We knew this problem was happening, and then we had a talented engineer like our boy GameSys come in and give some advice. But there's also some other engineers on the team that also put in some other tweaks to make that to make it better on all. So it wasn't like one thing that was happening; it was a multitude of other things. So, KG, with that.
And before we head into that, I do want to do a couple more shout outs. Goran, again, shout out for being a day one. Raymano, shout out for being a day one. Chantel, shout out for being a day one. Ayo, I see you out there all the time spreading the good word about internet money. Shout out to you. Love the wallet. Thank you. Taryn says he knows KG genuinely has people's best interests at heart. That is true. It's one thing that keeps me up at night is I want my fellow human beings to win. Oh, here's a great question. Will you get a web browser in the wallet as well as facial recognition? Facial recognition is on the roadmap. We haven't put it up as a high priority because we don't get too many requests for it. But web browser is a very high priority for us. We get a lot of requests for that. So yes, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. And every person you onboard is with the Internet Money Wallet. Legend. Okay. And Josh, yes. When will the ramp be available in the UK? Sick of swapping from base. Okay. So very soon is the short answer. We just went over all that, so feel free to hit the replay, and we just talked about it a little more. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into this new stats page. I'm going to start by showing you the old stats page, the one that's currently, here we go. All right, we can see this.
Yep.
So this is what you'll currently see on our stats page. You can see wallet downloads, which is still functioning as it should. And then the swap volume and the time dividends have actually been broken for a couple months. So we have revamped it into this. And now this is still going to be iteration 1. And we will build on this more and more. But what you can see is, see here. Again, you can still see the wallet downloads, but this is where it gets really cool. So you're going to see this one modal here that has the swap volume and the dividends, excuse me. And you can select which chain you want to view that information on, or you can select the combined. Now, I think this is so cool. So when you go to each chain, it's lightning quick, and you can actually see this, cool animation of it calculating up the dividends for you. So just running through some stats, we've done a total of $69 million in swap volume on PulseChain over about 200,000 swaps, yielding time holders about $500,000, so $450,000. So if you've been holding time, you've been a participant in earning some of this 7 billion Pulse. Now, this is not Pulse at the current price. It takes the price of Pulse as it's earned, and it adds it up here. Pulse has been up to 3015 and as low as 4032. So it's actually interesting if you're a time holder. I mean, you know this, Don, but to those out there, you kind of want the price of like Pulse or ETH to be a little low because you actually earn more of the coin, right? You earn more units. And then if the price goes up, well, then you earn more money. So you'll see this coming very soon. We have some other stats coming as well, such as like APY for time, or hey, one time token is earning X amount of Pulse or ETH today. We're going to visualize all this in the form of charts. This is going to be a really robust and beautiful stats page. Just the first step was to replace what was broken, get that back up. And this is, if you like stats, you're really going to love going to internetmoney.io/stats.
Yeah, it always having the stats page originally was awesome because every day, I would check it multiple times a day, and then when we didn't have it, it was like I'm losing an arm. So getting this back is because this is our business, literally and figuratively. So to be able to see that in real time, see how things are going, like when there's an event, like the other night when we all found out about the dismissal of the SEC case, and everybody jumped on. I think it was Coffee who had the stream. He had the dead mouse pumping in the background, charts going wild. Man, it was real elation, and we did see an uptick in swap volume. Obviously, people are buying, selling, moving things around, but we couldn't monitor it in real time. Because again, this data is derived directly from the blockchain, not from your device or your account or anything like that. So this is just coming directly from the blockchain, and it's good. It's going to be good to have this back, not just for me, but for all of you who are invested in the product and the asset.
The craziest thing about what you just said is the fact that you knew who Dead Mouse was. You legitimately, you took me by surprise.
The only reason why I knew is because he said it.
Oh, I gotcha. All right.
I don't have my Dead Mouse albums in the trunk of my car.
Oh man, you're missing out. But yes, to your actual point, and you saying that reminded me that so here in this drop down, you can actually isolate this down to the 1 hour, 4 hour, 24 hour, 7 day, 30 day, and the total. So now when you as a time holder look at that 30 day, we've done about 1/7 of the total volume on PulseChain in the last 30 days. Or not 1/7. Yeah, 1/7. Exactly. So that goes to show you that things probably got really bullish when the court case was dismissed. So having this reactive, real-time chain statistics is very important because not only we, like you said, as a business, as a company, as a team, but people out there who want to learn more about the ecosystem, invest in time, they're going to be able to go and see exactly what real numbers are and make good calculations based on that. And I'm really excited to see the stat coming soon where it says, hey, again, the same time intervals, having one time token is earning X amount of, in this case, Pulse, because we've been talking about this for a long time. When that number is known, that is going to have an impact on the time price for that chain. Because if one time token is earning X amount of coin, then you have a tangible, price per time amount, right? But then you have to factor in that time horizon variable of, okay, well, you might be earning, 10 pulse per time, but I plan to hold this time for 6 years. So it's going to get real interesting when these numbers start to come out, what's going to happen to the actual time price because, well, now we have the real dividend numbers available for everybody.
Yeah, the thing I love about it too, it's kind of like on a stock where you have your EPS, your earnings per share.
Yes.
And you base that, you base a value of an asset that you're purchasing on the EPS. Like, hey, NVIDIA usually trades at 30 times its EPS, but now it's on sale at 20 times its EPS, or vice versa. It's a little expensive right now. Maybe I'll wait for it to pull back. So to have that base number, it really makes time a real asset. Like, I'm not saying anything else isn't real, but more so like a tangible financial instrument that actually, that you can gauge. Memes are cool. I like the degen sometimes also, but I also like something that I can project and predict, and it's relatively safe in this real risky market. I mean, I'm no spring chicken. Sometime I'd like to retire, and the closer you get to retirement, the more safe you have to be. And you could even pull up the chart, KG, on time. It has been a very, dare I say, safe asset to own, even just from your risk mitigation. You know, you got a portfolio of all these crazy memes, and you know what's keeping that base of value in there. You know, I mean, yes, you have your Pulse, you have your Hex, you know, but what else? So like here, you know, here's an example. Yeah, there are some dips and peaks and valleys, but you know, even where we're at today, I mean, it's going in the right direction.
Yes, with all the well, look, I'll say it because I know you want to be politically correct, and I appreciate that about you. But you can clip this, you can blast it out on socials. I will defend this to anybody. Time is the best asset in crypto, hands down. Put me toe to toe with anybody. Happy to have that debate. They will lose, but I'm happy to have it.
Yeah.
But even in the absolute bearishness of PulseChain, time is still up. What is that, a 9x or an 8x? This is with the ecosystem losing people, SEC FUD, years of no Richard Hart stream, all these negative things, all these projects we've seen come and go, all the rug pulls. Time is still up an 8x.
Yeah.
And
Also,
go ahead.
I was gonna say it has also something to do not just with the earnings, but our community, which has been rock solid since day one. I mean, true believers. Thank you all for continuing to believe in the product and the asset, and in our buy and burn. You know, that's a big thing too. I mean, we do have a steady buyer in the system. It doesn't care what the price is, and as soon as somebody publicly executes that function, it gets bought and burned.
Yeah, and I really like the TPS game, sis. If you're still watching, I think that's what we call it, TPS, because I really like that.
EPS, TPS.
TPS what?
EPS, TPS.
Oh, it is EPS. Yeah, I actually meant EPS. TPS was a misspeak.
Where are you going with that?
Yeah, no. You're right. EPS. But because I actually really like that about our system is we're using a lot of the same quote legacy terms, which I think makes it just click for people in a way, you know?
Yeah.
Game sis. I'm listening while I work on the stats. Incredibly meta. Nice.
Oh, Game sis, check this out. If you're listening, you know, one thing that we want to do also after all this is done is come out with a calculator of, hey, if I purchase X amount of time at X price, it's going to yield me X amount of time. And if it earns this much pulse per time, I can expect this much at this date. So really somebody like a tool that people can use on our website to, you know, gauge the size of their investment based on how much they want returned over a certain period of time.
Yeah, moon math would be great. We love moon math.
Love it. Love it.
That's why time is going to overtake the market cap of Bitcoin. Moon math.
It's exactly what I was thinking.
It's the only logical next step.
Time to 9,000.
Yeah.
Oh.
9,000 per time. Let's get it.
Because that would overtake it, right?
It probably. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Because it'd be 18 billion. No, not even. Wait. Oh yeah. That'd be like 18 trillion, quadrillion. I don't know. Something crazy.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. But okay. So enough on the stats there. We can dive into that. Let's talk a little bit about some market news here. So I'm going to start off with the obvious big one, which is Richard Hart. For those that don't know, which I hope you know, is Richard Hart beat the SEC. And the reason why this is such an important thing is, well, A, it's one of the many suppressive elements we've had against the PulseChain community. There's still a couple other lingerings. Like, yes, for those that don't know, within the dismissal, there was a 20-day timeline that the SEC had to, I think like respond or come back with their counter arguments or clean up their act or whatever it actually was. So we still have that 20-day window counting down. I think we have 15 days left. But once that comes off the table, that's going to be another suppressive element removed. And yeah, there's still the stuff with Interpol and all that, but this is a major step in a positive direction. And we're already seeing all types of benefits come out of it. Like all these different crypto companies that were previously gatekeeping and suppressing Hex, they've lifted that suppression off their front end. We're seeing influencers that were saying negative things now saying positive things. So this major win is already having major social implications. And what's really important is the SEC didn't just say, hey, we're going to give up. Richard and Richard's team battled them and won the battle, which is why he specifically pointed out denied, 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 and his was granted, right? Because he won. So that's not only big for Richard. Congratulations. If you somehow happen to hear this, I hope that relieves a little bit of anxiety off your chest. And it's also great for the PulseChain community. And it's also great for the American citizen and the global citizen, because one negative thing about America is that our government thinks they control you too. And we don't like that. Don't let that be a reflection of the American citizen. I personally abhor the SEC, the IRS, destroy them all, let people do what they want with their money. So this is a major win from many fronts. Don, you got anything to say on that?
Yeah, no, I agree. We also saw Charles Hoskinson apologize, right, to Richard Hart. That was big too.
That was big.
Yeah, and he's a good man for that too. A lot of people wouldn't have done that. So respect to you, Charles Hoskinson, for actually having enough courage and strength and pride in yourself to be able to say that publicly. So that's definitely good. Yeah, no, and I agree. And it's not just a win for the community, like you said. It's a win for crypto as a whole, because it's a case that sets precedents. So for the next case is to look back at this and say, well, hey, his was granted. Why can't mine? So that is very big for us in the community, but also globally, like you said, not just as a crypto community, but the human population as well. So very exciting, very exciting. And, look, say what you want about Richard Hart, but he is a human being. And these things had to have been weighing on him in the background. Just look at him from like a human to human perspective. And, it's got to be cool for him to just have that. Yeah, he's got some other stuff to worry about too, but this is one less thing on his plate that he has to concentrate on, devote his time into and his mental effort into, and just the pressure of having this. It's got to feel real good for him. So shout out, Richie. Happy for you, man.
Well said. Yeah, just think about your life, whoever you are listening, when you have 1, 2, 3 many things to do. Now imagine being pursued by the American government and the international government and taking all sorts of slings and arrows, not being able to really engage with your community of the thing you just worked hard building for the last several years. The fact that he persevered is still persevering says, I think, a lot about his character, whether you agree or disagree with some of his actions.
For sure.
So I agree with that.
Absolutely.
All right. And we'll tie back into this in a moment. We have 2 more points we're going to hit on here. So I'm going to give Trayvon the shout out on this. Shout out to Trayvon. He's actually one of my favorite people to follow in crypto. He's hilarious. He's objective, and he gives real alpha. So I was actually scrolling and I saw the news from him first. I'm going to give this a quick read. A post on Truth Social from our president of the United States, Donald Trump. A U.S. crypto reserve will elevate this critical industry after years of corrupt attacks by the Biden administration, which is why my executive order on digital assets directed the presidential working group to move forward on a crypto strategic reserve that includes XRP, Solana, and ADA, which is Cardano. I will make sure the U.S. is the crypto capital of the world. We are making America great again, which spawned some FUD. Hey, what about Bitcoin and Ethereum? Donald Trump followed it up and said, and obviously Bitcoin and Ethereum, as other valuable cryptocurrencies, will be at the heart of the reserve. I also love Bitcoin and Ethereum. So not only did he name 5 by name, he left the door open to say others. So this is obviously very bullish for the crypto industry from a legal perspective, because there's no guesswork anymore as to what our administration thinks about crypto.
Right. Now, when Trump launched Trump, and when he first, when he had his inauguration, and I remember watching it, and one of the newscasters was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, and you launched the coin, and you're up a lot. He's like, oh yeah, how much are we up? So something like, someone said like billions or something, and he said, that's nothing for these guys. He's a pure first of all, I love him. It's a pure degen. I love it. We got the right guy in office for our industry. These next 4 years is going to be a lot of fun, and I hope that JD feels the same way, because he most likely would be in line to take the next 8 years over. And if that happens, and we have a crypto-friendly administration for the next 12 years, I don't think
crazy. That's crazy talk in a good way.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think people realize the true power of that, because if America starts loading up on Bitcoin, Ethereum, didn't he say time in there too? One of the best assets ever created, I think.
Yeah, he did. That's that direct Donald Trump quote. Absolutely.
Right. So Bitcoin, ETH, time.
Yep.
It's getting loaded in the strategic reserve. All other countries are going to follow. And when you got countries buying these assets, and you're in early, could you be any earlier? So congratulations to everybody who bought before the countries did.
Right. Right. That's which kind of brings me to the next point I wanted to talk about and get your perspective on was, so I agree with you on everything you're saying, that this, if you're a builder in crypto, if you're an investor in crypto, I don't see how you're taking this as anything other than bullish and confidence inducing. Now, the big question, Don, is, and maybe you don't have an answer, but is, why is everything down? Everything is down. Shouldn't things be blasting off with tweets like this? I mean, what are your thoughts?
Well, we did see a little pump, but I think that the fact that there is relatively low liquidity in these assets. I mean, no, me and you can't move these markets, but there are people that can. And when you're playing with 50x leverage and guys making 6 million on a move, trying to shake out those shorts, there's a lot of things going on from the crypto side, but also the macroeconomic side. We could break it down for the next 9 hours, but essentially there needs to be an unpacking of the, and I apologize for getting political, but the poor decision making over the last few years when it comes to finances and improper spending, terrible inflation, things of that nature. It takes a little while to unpack, and it's not going to get, it's going to get better. It's going to get worse before it gets better, but give it some time. things will rebound. They will get tighter. There will be a nice flow, and things will go back up. And don't forget too, I mean, there was some big profit taking too when all these stocks like Nvidia, Apple, all these big stocks were taking profit, or the big investors like Warren Buffett, they're pulling it out and keeping it in the cash because these markets have cycles also. We've been in a bull market on the fiat side for years, and everything just kept on going up and up and up and up and up. And yeah, people made hundreds of billions of dollars, and they're converting it back into cash because obviously the talk about tariffs is scary. Uncertainty. The market doesn't like uncertainty. So as soon as uncertainty hit, the people that have all the money, they know, yeah, shit's gonna go down. So let me pull my money, let it go down, let it go down, let it go down, let it go down, drive it down, buy it back when it's low, man. And then they make more money and wait for the next 10 to 15 year cycle. Retail investors don't have a 15-year cycle mentality. They have a 15
minute
month or 15 minute mentality. So just stay patient, and just when you think that's when you don't know, because we're not market makers. And there's people out there doing gangstery stuff that, we don't know what they're doing, why, or we just want to pick up some crumbs along the way, and that's it.
You just packed a lot of alpha into that. And I do agree with you that it's going to take some time for these things to play out. I mean, it's not just crypto that's down. It's the legacy market is down as well. Gold is down, silver is down. I mean, stocks are down. Everything seems to be down. And, people are capitalizing on that and saying, oh, Trump is destroying the economy that Biden built. And, while I can see what they're saying when they come from that perspective, because, well, hey, things are down. But, I mean, how do you propel a slingshot forward? You have to pull it back. So if crypto can't pump in this environment, I'm not sure crypto can anymore, because we just came from an administration that was literally trying to steal and destroy people's freedoms. They were stealing money from people. Look at you and I were talking about this before the stream. Look at what the SEC just in this one small microcosm of PulseChain did they started pursuing Richard Hart. The price tanked, scared people. People lost money. So the SEC, they actually were the evil actor in the PulseChain scenario. And then American tax dollars went to paying them to pursue Richard Hart and the PulseChain community. So we not only lost money by the price going down, we lost money from our tax dollars. We lost potential revenue because of all the influencers and companies that didn't support PulseChain because of that. And they lost anyways.
Right.
So they literally just came in, destroyed our house, and said, they didn't even say sorry on the way out. They just left.
Right.
No,
it's like
I
was going to say, it's like that old Dave Chappelle clip where Rick James is on my couch with his muddy boots.
Right.
That's the SEC. The SEC's Rick James on my couch with the muddy boots.
Exactly. And so the fact that crypto was able to not only sustain but sort of thrive in that environment, how can it not thrive in an environment where the president of the United States is launching meme coins and creating a digital asset reserve at the highest level? How can it not thrive?
It will. And for me, I mean, you've heard me say that a million times. I love a good solid floor. And I think what's happening right now is a floor is being established. So if you do have any money on the sideline that you can afford to lose if it all does go to zero, I'd throw it in. Even in fiat too. Right now, like Microsoft is at its 52-week low. Why not buy a couple shares of Microsoft?
What is it at right now, actually, in dollar value?
I think it's 3. That's actually like maybe 389, 399, somewhere like around there. But look, if you got, you got $1,000, you get 3 shares. It's not gonna moon math, but it's all about percentages. Yeah, you're probably gonna make 20%, 30% this year on Microsoft, or maybe 2 years. It's not huge, but it's still positive. Point being is, I hear what you're saying, but again, these things take a while to play out. And I believe a good solid floor is being set, and we might look back at this time and and say that, hey man, I wish I had more money at that time. I was there when Ethereum wicked down to 1965. What was it, last night, 2 nights ago?
Yeah, last 48 hours.
Yeah, and it's hovering around 22, 23.
Yep.
So these are times where you take a look, you take advantage of it, because we're here and you've believed all this time. And PulseChain, what is it? It went back down to under 4, which is that to me is a little surprising, because I thought that initial pump, I'm gonna call it the SEC pump, right? The initial SEC pump, when we're on stream with coffee, watching all that stuff. That to me was people in our community or right outside our community on the sidelines waiting for the news to come back in. And I thought that floor, that when it hit like the 4.5, 4.6, 4.8, and then up to 5, I thought the floor was going to be somewhere around 4.8 to 5, because that was the rest of us putting more money in, saying, all right, hey man, time to blast off. But I think people might have put in the 3s or hex when it was at a penny, saw it go up 50%, 60%, said, oh, I made 50, 60% in an hour, and just pulled it back off the table. That's what I think happened. And, it's unfortunate, because it would be nice to establish a higher floor, because that would show more stability to some outside money waiting to come in.
I could see that. And yeah, I was surprised. I think everybody was a bit surprised. I think a lot of us have been feeling that it was highly possible that when the news about the SEC dismissing the case came in, we would, that would be the blowing the roof off, so to speak. Yeah. But that does go back to our earlier points of there's still that 20-day countdown timer of when the SEC can no longer respond. So maybe big money knows something, or maybe big money's just waiting until that comes off the table. And then there is still Richard being pursued by Interpol. So, so there's still those two negative externalities working against us. But no one seems to be talking about the Interpol thing, which I think is pretty awesome. So it seems like socially they were putting more weight on the SEC thing, which I think is also kind of bullish news too. And I really think what'll take us off is when Richard Hart comes back behind the camera. He becomes a guest on all these podcasts, and he actually starts getting out there, doing the thing that brought us all in the first place.
Yeah, I agree. I think we definitely need that. I wasn't in the camp that I thought this was going to blow the roof off the top. Because again, as the market is changing, I did see like a nice shrinkage of all of the liquidity in the market, not just PulseChain, just in general. And a 50 to 80% pump is what I was in my mind projecting, and it went up about 50%. And when I say it, I mean like Pulse. Yeah, it was a little disappointing to see it not stay. And that to me was more disappointing than not seeing the roof get blown off, again, because people will look and say, I wish I would have had it at that point. And then they kind of,
right.
And then they say, okay, well, now I'm getting it because it's slow, it's steady now. And then it just kind of builds, slowly but surely on top of each other. And listen, I get it though. You're in this community for a long time. You believe in the assets, and we see a quick 50% pump. And if you just kept on DCAing and kept buying when it's in the 3s, and when it almost didn't it break? It went below 3. It went like 2.9 at some point, didn't it? Or was it just 3.0 was the low?
Yeah, 3.0 was like the tippy bottom.
All right, so if you bought 3.1, you're never going to buy the bottom. You're never going to sell the top. You don't make markets unless you do, then you can. But for normal guys that don't make the markets, as long as you're close to either or, you'll always be fine. But yeah, if you're buying at 3.2, 3.3, and you see a pump to 5, I don't blame you for taking a little profit. But little and is the key. Let's all not get greedy, and let's build this thing together. And it's going to
And it
take.
actually, go ahead.
No, you got it.
And it actually wicked up to 6.5. So some people, a lot of people probably caught, not a lot of people, but some people caught a 2x, 1.8, 1.5. So yeah, it's been bearish in this community for a long time. So when, people made a little bit of money, makes sense that they sold. I do hear you. It would have been nice to say, oh, hey, with this news, it now blasted us into another range.
Yeah.
But it didn't. We fell right back to the existing floor of like 3.1 is like abysmal, but like that 3.5 to 4.2 range.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm not sure what takes it, but look, we didn't drop to 0. We're still here.
It's true. I was nervous. I was nervous that it was going to break the support of 3.
That would have been weird.
That's where I kind of got nervous. But yeah, again, I think I know. I pretend to know, but at the end of the day, who knows? Tomorrow something could be said that takes it all to Valhalla or kills it all. You never know, because again, we don't make markets, so it's not easy being a retail investor. You gotta always plan and project and go with your gut, go with your intelligence, and you're right sometimes, you're wrong sometimes, but as long as you stay in the middle and you're not greedy, right? Yeah, it's great to 1000x, but isn't it great to make 20% on 20% on 20% and so on and so on and so forth? Put that calculation in the spreadsheet. See how fast making 20% adds up.
Even better, ask ChatGPT. In 5 seconds, you can see the power of compounding 20%. And see, that's why I don't know, Don, if on your phone you can see, but I put a little banner here on the stream.
Don, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
So, last point I wanted to bring up, because we're coming up right on an hour, wanted to keep this digestible, was so we talked about things we've accomplished recently. We've talked about the things we're working on. We've talked about the market sentiment, some big news that came out recently. Last thing we want to touch on is what our plans are next, and the 3 things that we've identified as high priority items. And again, we're looking for community feedback on this. We are always looking for community feedback. Is a big one we see all the time is the UI of the Internet Money wallet. People are constantly saying, hey, that we don't like the UI. Now, it is subjective. Some people love it. Some people hate it. But we see it enough to recognize that, hey, it's something to pay attention to. So high priority for us is to do an app redesign. We'd mainly keep the user experience, right? So you don't have to relearn a whole new app, but it would be more so making the app look more refined, more clean. I'm not sure a right word to put there, but something that people feel is fresher, a freshen up, a revision, right? So that's big for us. Did you want to say anything on that?
Nah, I was
okay.
Just keep going.
Okay.
I got that hard stop too, because I gotta hit the road. I'll just turn my camera off, but I'll still be here when I gotta roll.
Yeah, I'm planning to wrap it up here shortly.
All right.
Also, the Fiat off ramp, because we're going to have 2 on ramp solutions, the Fiat off ramp, and then the PulseChain to Ethereum bridge, actually bringing that in app, so that way we're not confined by the limits of changing. So if there's anything that out of that list that you feel is more of a priority, drop a comment in the chat here. If you're watching the video later on replay, drop a comment, send us a message on Twitter, drop something in our Telegram, wherever you are, let us know. We're collecting feedback on all these platforms, but those are one of those three things is what we plan to tackle next. With that, Don, do you have any final thoughts?
Be careful out there. Don't get scammed. If you have doubts, question it. Take your time. Don't be greedy. And tell your mother you love her.
Sound advice from Don, who is always right. And again, follow us on X at InternetMoney.io. You can find all of our social links at InternetMoney.io. Please only interact with X profiles, Telegram profiles that are found on our main website right here, InternetMoney.io. If people are DMing you on Telegram, they're going to scam you and steal all your money. Only communicate in the main channels found on the website. To everybody who is constantly spreading the word, thank you. We would not be where we are without you today. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, we're always here for you. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button. Give us your feedback, because this is a wallet that we build by the people for the people. My name's KG. Until next time, peace.
Got my own keys and my own coin. Gotta protect this money. Took too long for me to get it. Can't let them take this from me.